Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Movesets video. Today's video is going to be all about one of the new Ultra Beasts, Blacephalon. So let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, ability, and stats. So to start things off, Blacephalon is a new Fire Ghost type Pokemon introduced into Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and being a new Ultra Beast, this Pokemon has access to the Beast Boost ability, which upon KOing an opponent's Pokemon, will grant you a +1 boost to whichever stat you have that has the highest numeric value. And speaking of those stats, it's important to note that when using Blacephalon, this Pokemon is very frail, possessing only a base 53 HP stat, 57 defense stat, and 79 special defense stat. So by no means is this Pokemon really going to be able to take hits too well, and it is quite unfortunate also that being a Ghost type, it is weak to both Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch priority moves, which will allow this Pokemon to have a little bit of a difficult time sweeping teams with its massive offensive stats, which you see right here, being base 127 physical attack, 151 special attack, and 107 speed stat. So this Pokemon is definitely capable of doing a ton of damage on the physical or special side, and also outpacing a ton of opponents with its great speed stat as well, but you do have to be very careful when using it, very similar to that of Pheromosa because of how weak its defenses are. But with that, let's take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to be running Blacephalon as a special attacking nuke. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a timid nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack, and going with a specially offensive EV spread of 252 special attack, 4 special defense, and 252 speed EVs to max out its special attack and speed stat. Now even with all this investment and the nature, the Pokemon will still be receiving a +1 special attack boost from Beast Boost when it does KO an opponent. And for the moves that it's going to be using to do so, the first one that we're going to be going with is going to be Mind Blown, which is this Pokemon's signature Fire-type move of 150 base power that will also be draining away half of your HP stat when you attack opponents with it. Now that trade-off is pretty significant though because of the fact of how powerful this move is, which can allow you to KO things that most other Fire-type moves would not allow you to. But in addition to this, we're also be running Shadow Ball as your main stab Ghost-type move, and then we're also going to be running Psychic or Psyshock as a coverage option, which will help out this Pokemon considerably when dealing with other Pokemon that are walls like Toxapex, or things like Chansey, which usually have higher special defense, so that you can actually hit their physical defense with Psyshock, or just have Psychic as a coverage option as well. But for the last move on this set, we're going to go with Fire Blast to have an additional Fire-type move, Trick to work with a couple of items, which I'll talk about in a second, or Knock Off as a way of potentially removing items on your opponent's team as well, which again can be very useful in allowing this Pokemon to deal more damage to its opponents and get rid of leftovers and other items that they will want to be using. It's also important to note that you probably can, and most likely at some point will want to run a Hidden Power on this set possibly, to deal with a specific counter that you might be up against, so do keep that in mind. But for the item on the set, Choice Specs and Choice Scarf are probably the most standard options to either boost your special attack while locking you into a move or boost your speed while locking you into a move, and both of those can be used very effectively with Trick. But you can also go with Furium Z or Psychium Z to give you a super powerful fire or super powerful Psychic type move, which will also help out because if you use Furium Z with Mind Blown, you actually have a more powerful fire move, but you don't have to worry about losing half your health. Additionally, Citrus Berry and Leftovers can also work in this item slot to allow you again to work a little bit better with Mind Blown to recover some health, so that you are able to use the move a little bit more often, possibly getting 3 uses out of it with that item. As for this next moveset, we're going to be running a double boosting set for Blacephalon to really capitalize on its great special attack and speed. So again, we're going to go with the timid nature and the same EV spread as before, but for the moves on the set, the first one that really is going to change this one up from the previous one is that we're going to be running Flame Charge, which is a move that will be boosting your speed stat by 1 stage every single time you damage your opponent. And this is really significant because this Pokemon now will have a reliable way to boost its speed, in addition to then also being able to boost its special attack as a result of the Beast Boost ability. And to do this Pokemon is going to be running either one fire move on this set in the form of either Fire Blast or Mind Blown, and then also a Ghost move in the form of Shadow Ball, and then again a coverage option in Psychic or Psyshock. And also I should also recommend on here that a Hidden Power could also be beneficial for this Pokemon to run as well, but it's really too early to tell what would be the most beneficial for it, as these sets are really just coming out, as this Pokemon was really just only introduced a couple days ago. But for the item on the set, a Life Orb is probably going to be the most standard option to allow you to do as much damage as possible with each one of your attacks. However, I would very much not recommend running a Life Orb with Mind Blown because you're just basically going to kill yourself. But again, Furium Z and Psychium Z are great options to allow this Pokemon to have powerful Psychic or Fire-type moves to help it break through walls such as Toxapex. And it's also important to note that when you use Psychium Z with Psyshock, it actually is a special attack, which I find to be very interesting. So that is a really cool utility thing there as well. But again, this Pokemon just has a ton of options to really dish out some massive special attacking damage, and because we're now also boosting its speed stat, it becomes even more of a threat on the battlefield. Now, being the great special attacker Blacephalon is, it becomes even more of a threat to your opponent's team when used behind a substitute, so this set is designed to capitalize on that. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Tip of Nature and the same EV spread as before, but this time our item is going to be Leftovers to allow this Pokemon to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, because this will be essential in allowing it to switch in multiple times to Stealth Rock, since it is a Stealth Rock weak Pokemon, but also to be used more so in combination with our first move on the set, which is Substitute, which will allow us to get behind a protective barrier to shield us from attacks and statuses. And if you really want a special attacker that isn't walled by Chansey, this is the one to go with, because behind a sub, Chansey cannot touch this Pokemon unless it's running some type of coverage move that is super effective against it, which is very, very uncommon. So behind the sub, you are then free to basically attack your opponent to your heart's content. And to do this, we're going to be going with Fire Blast and Shadow Ball to be your main stab, fire, and ghost type moves. And to just make note of this, Mind Blown doesn't really work on a substitute set because you're going to be killing yourself way too fast. But for your last move, we could either go with an additional coverage option, such as Psyshock, again to allow this Pokemon to deal considerable damage to special walls, but also we can run Will-O-Wisp as a way to allow this Pokemon to status physical attackers and cripple their ability to damage you and your teammates, or run Pain Split on the set to give you that kind of sub-split combo that will allow you to regain a ton of health while behind a substitute, and damage your opponents that way by averaging out your HP stats. So this set is really just an amazing thing to have on the back burner as a possibility for Blacephalon, just because of how the fact that it is able to really come in and really utilize its typing to its advantage and dish out loads of damage in the process. As for this next moveset, we're going to be running a very interesting Calm Mind set for Blacephalon to make use of. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Tip of Nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack like before, but the EVs on the set are going to be putting 248 into its HP stat, 8 into its special attack, and then 252 EVs into its speed stat. And with this EV spread, we are actually going to now be getting a +1 speed boost from Beast Boost whenever we KO our opponents. And this is very similar to the second set of this video, where we would use Flame Charge to boost our speed and then KO opponents to boost our special attack. On this set, we're going to use Beast Boost to boost our speed and then make use of Calm Mind to boost our special attack, as well as our special defense to make this Pokemon a little bit bulkier on the special side. But with this set, we're again going to go with Fire Blast or Mind Blown to be your main fire type move, going with Shadow Ball to be your main ghost type move, and then also possibly running Psyshock for that added coverage, or Substitute as a way to use the set as kind of a sub-Calm Mind set, which, like before, is a great set to use with this Pokemon because of how many things it can set up on, namely something like Chansey, which would typically wall it. But for the item on the set, Furium Z, again to be used in combination with Fire Blast or Mind Blown, just to give you that super powerful fire move and not have to worry about Mind Blown recoil. We could also go with Psychium Z, like before, again to give you that powerful Psychic move, or Leftovers, which I would prefer or recommend for a substitute set, because it will allow this Pokemon to regain some HP behind a substitute as it continues to set up Calm Minds. And this is a very amazing way to use this Pokemon. It's, like I said, it's very similar to the second set, but we achieve the speed boost and the special attack boost by different means. And this one more so has the potential to be even more of a threat because we're actually investing significantly into its HP stat to give it more bulk and simultaneously boosting its special defense. As for this last moveset, we're going to be running Blacephalon as a physical attacker to make use of its great physical attack stat. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, and going with a 252 physical attack, 4 special defense, 252 speed EV spread, which upon KOing an opponent will actually give you a +1 physical attack boost to the set to allow it to become infinitely more physically powerful. And for the moves on the set, again, we're going to be going with Flame Charge as a way to reliably boost this Pokemon's speed, but I can also take a little bit more advantage of it now that we are actually running a physical set, even though this move in and of itself is pretty weak. Additionally, then we're going to be running Shadow Claw as your main ghost type option, which is actually one of your most powerful moves on the set, because unfortunately Blacephalon doesn't get Flare Blitz or Fire Punch or anything like that, which is quite a bummer. But in addition to this, we're also going to be running Knockoff just because it's a great move all around and could dish out some considerable damage as well. And finally, for the last move, going with Explosion to allow this Pokemon to blow up on its opponents after it is able to take full advantage of its boosted attack from maybe KOing something. So for the item on the set, we could either go with a Life Orb to boost the power of all of your moves while reducing 10% of your health every time you damage your opponent, Ghost DMZ to work in combination with Shadow Claw as a way to potentially give this Pokemon a super powerful Ghost type move to make use of, or going with Normalium Z as a way to be used in combination with Explosion to give you a super powerful normal type attack that you can make use of before you also explode, which is a way to allow this Pokemon to really be able to essentially explode twice and possibly gain a kill that way on something that you normally wouldn't be able to KO, especially on a special set, because this is a physical attacking one. Now, this set in particular isn't necessarily going to be more powerful than the special ones, but if you did want to run a physical set, because this Pokemon does have a great physical attack stat, this would be the way to go it. I could even see, just for specific counters, you may be wanting to run a hidden power like HP Ice to deal with Landorus or something like that, but that option remains to be seen for the time being. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video on the last Ultra Beast introduced into Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.